What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. And here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you today?
Man, a great weekend in Sacramento. We finally got a playoff win. And I'll tell you what, that win meant a lot more to us than the loss meant to the Warriors, right?
Yeah,
The Warriors can still win the series. They know what they need to do, but with all the energy in the building, uh, all the build up for it, the Kings really need to get that win. So, not ready to say they're going to win the series yet. Warriors are still championship caliber, but it was fun for us here in Sacramento to get a playoff win. And at this point, right, we're free rolling. Anything from here on out, it just feels all gravy. How you doing?
man, you're playing that little role just so you can. You acting like you guys want the 3 seed. The Warriors are the 6 seed. You guys want the little itch that could right now, man. Like,
We are. I mean, they're the best franchise over the last 7-8 years. I know they're the sixth seed, but they had a lot of injuries. We were the healthiest team in the league. So I mean, the odds have moved. We went from plus 200 to about plus 135. Warriors are still favored though to win the series.
right, right. So, this is what I want to ask you. What happened with? Because I didn't get much information about this. What happened with E40?
I know just as much as you. I saw the online stuff. So
Yeah, that was crazy. They're saying something about he got into it with some people. I guess maybe the security or something. And he said he's not coming back to the end of the games there. So I hate to hear that. I thought you might have some information because you're on the ground
no,
out
no,
there.
no. I know the same thing as you. My personal opinion is security probably made a mistake.
Uh huh.
But that's a tough job, and as we continue to run down anyone who tries to do that type of job, right? It's becoming less
Right.
and less attractive. So I'm not surprised they made a mistake. But yeah, the only black mark on the evening, right?
Yeah, the only one. It was a exciting evening. Let's get into the past, man, and talk about. We have so much to discuss from the past
Yeah,
weekend.
you
It was a
know
busy
what?
weekend.
This weekend was better than I expected. I thought there might be a lot of blowouts, but we got a lot of bounce back in the first. So let's see. We had to talk about the playing game, right?
Yeah.
You had DeRozan over 23 and a half. Did that one get there?
Yes, it did, man. He had
Okay.
26 points and 9 assists. He did a
Okay.
great job. Yeah,
Okay.
we
What
got
did
there
you see
with
in
the
that
Rose.
game? Obviously, the Heat beat the Bulls. We like the Bulls on this show, and the Heat came through there in the end, and looked pretty good on Sunday too. And of course, we'll discuss that. But what did you see in the playing game when the Heat knocked out the Bulls?
Well, the Bulls had beaten them 3 straight times. They were undefeated against the Heat this season. Just a gritty performance by Miami and some clutch shooting at the end of the game. The Bulls had complete control of this game, we know. DeRozan went over um, the 23 and a half. He had 26 points, 9 assists, as we expected. Levine was less effective after such a big game he had had the prior game. Uh, so we expected him to be just a little bit, less effective as he was getting more double teams and more eyes on him. And we know how Spoelstra draws up defenses for your primary guy. So we expected a little bit fallback from Levine, but DeRozan picked it up. But more than anything, Kobe White picked it up. And I found it really surprising that at the end of the game, White hit a big three, maybe with about 3 minutes left to put the Bulls up 3 points. After that, he was subbed for Pat Bev. And after that sub, everything went haywire. After that, they end up with the Heat with a miraculous run at the end of the game, where they ended up covering the game and everything. And as you and I know, the Bulls had complete control of that game most of the second half and into the final minutes of the game. I just will never understand why Billy Donovan subbed Pat Bear for Kobe White, because Kobe White was cooking and he was taking advantage of the matchups.
Yeah, obviously disappointed that they didn't even cover the spread. That should have been an easy cover. But credit to the Miami Heat, and they showed right why they're still lethal there on Sunday. Of course, we'll get to that one. Saturday, Started us off, wasn't the best game. The
Yeah,
Nets had nothing for the 76ers, and I know the Nets are a fun story, and they're going to be a fun regular season team, but I think this is an absolutely terrible matchup for them. Um,
yeah,
when doing content on Friday, I said that I wish that we'd switch these. I think that the Hawks matched up better with the Sixers, and that the Nets matched up better with the Celtics. And I mean, who knows if that was true, but saying that those were bad matchups for both teams ended up being correct. You had Mikal Bridges over 26 and a half. And we'll get into that game a little more tonight because that one will be playing. But brief takeaways from the Sixers' easy game one victory.
yeah. Very easy game. Um, Harden went ham, 23 points, 13 assists, 7 of 13 from the 3-point line. He really controlled the game in the second half. Embiid didn't even have to, play really hard. It's just a horrible matchup for the Nets. We were able to get there, as you said, with Mikal Bridges. He's the only um, highlight for the Nets. He and Cam Johnson went for 18, and uh, Bridges went for 30, and I expect him to average about that for the whole series. This is his first time being able to be the first option on the team, and he's really taking it on well. He was the National Player of the Year at Villanova, won the national championship, so he's used to being the guy. And as I said, he has a little bone to pick with his hometown because he's from Philly. And as you know, the Sixers drafted him, but they traded him on draft night, which I still don't get, and I bet you that they wish they hadn't because he would have been a great piece for what they have going on right now.
Yeah, great night for Mikal Bridges and great picks from you. The Hawks. It's kind of glad I went out and started taking a walk during the game. Right, it was a beautiful day in Sacramento, 77 degrees. I said, "Do I need to go watch the Hawks get boat race?" And I was correct as they were down 74-44 at halftime. It was a 30-point lead. They fought to make the final score respectable, but there was nothing really worth watching there. Not saying that the Hawks are completely done. They went 1 of 16 from three in that first half. We know it's a make or miss league. We know that they're better than that. And I won't be surprised to see the Hawks show some fight there tomorrow night. But that was the worst game of the weekend. What did you think?
Yeah, it was the worst one. I didn't watch much of it. I watched a little bit of the first half, and then we got up to 20 points. I did the exact thing that you did and went outside and enjoyed some sun. I checked back on my phone and saw that the Hawks almost covered at the end. They had gotten it to like
Yeah,
11 with the
yeah.
ball, and I was like, wow. So they had a pretty big second half. So I expect that to flow into the next game, and I would not be surprised if the Hawks win the first half in the coming up game because they're a competitive team like that. And Quinn Snyder is really good with making adjustments during the series. So I think that the Hawks bounce back. I don't think that they might win the series or even win the next game, but I do think they're a much more competitive next game.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at Hawks plus 10. I can't see myself laying it with the Celtics again. The Knicks, that was a surprise of Saturday. Um, we talked about it on the phone a little bit, but this is Jalen Brunson's coming out party, and I talked about it on Friday on my NBA rundown show I do, and they said, "Well, the Cavaliers had the best player on the floor," and we said, "Not so fast." I think Jalen Brunson's the best player on the floor. He looked to be the best player on the floor in that game, and the reason is because he can get high percentage shots with the game on the line in that half court setting. He has that nice little mid range turnaround. That's so much more high percentage than a step back three. And you talked about it on the phone, and I'll just steal your line, right? Donovan Mitchell's got better highlights, but Jalen
Right.
Brunson's the better player.
Yep.
What did you see there? And of course, we'll be previewing that game tomorrow.
All that I saw was what I knew. The Knicks are going to win the series. I've told you that before the series started. Even though I do like the Cavs, they got a bad matchup. I thought that the Cavs could really stir it up a little bit in the playoffs, but they ended up where they um, drew the Knicks as the Knicks got hot, and after the Knicks got hot, they were able to move up in the standings. And um, Cleveland is just the perfect matchup for them because their bigs aren't as effective against the Knicks as they are against everyone else. 'Cause they don't have an advantage against Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson is one of the top defensive centers in the league. I guess he just doesn't play enough games for them to even recognize him because, in my opinion, he does the most as far as an anchor in the league. I think that their whole defense for the Knicks the last couple years have been, all around Mitchell Robinson. He doesn't get a lot of love that he deserves. He kind of reminds me of when Capella was in Houston. He just equates to wins. When he plays, they win. And he gave the Cavs all the problems that they could deal with on the glass yesterday, and also with just good defensive positioning. And even if it didn't turn into a block or a steal, it still was a very difficult shot for them. Donovan Mitchell is going to be Donovan Mitchell, but he's not Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is a much more steadier player, former National Player of the Year, former national champion as well, just like Mikal Bridges. And he was one of those guys who was the undisputed best player in the country when he was at Villanova. Just was undersized. His father played for the Knicks. His father was a bench player, but you know how that goes. Just like Kyrie's dad, just like Kobe's dad. It seems like when your dad isn't that good, but he got to the level, it prepares these kids to be superstars. And I really think Jalen Brunson is a superstar. I was seeing that Colin Cowherd was saying on the show today that he's one of the most valuable players, if not the most valuable player to his team in the league. Brunson just equates to wins. And you remember last year during the offseason when he became a free agent, I was screaming for the Rockets to pick him up because I feel like if he would have been the point guard on a team with the type of scores that they have with the Rockets, he would have really settled things down, and they would have been one of the most effective offenses in the league. But the Knicks got him, and I know that they're happy for it. And we're watching Julius Randle really ascend into being a top flight player, someone that you can respect and really a foundation in the Knicks organization, man. And I know that they're really glad that they got him because I know that he's given them a lot more than they expected in the trade. They didn't expect him to be this great of a player as he's been. The Knicks dominated on the offensive glass. They're really big on the wings, and they're giving the Cavs problems.
Yeah, I thought the line would move a little more. Cavs still laying 5 here in game two. We'll talk about that one more tomorrow. I talked about it earlier how happy we were in Sacramento. My key takeaways from that game: Malik Monk was huge for the Kings. My guy Kevin Herter didn't have a good game. Monk stepped up, and the other was Trey Lyles hitting some open shots, really preventing the Warriors from getting a big lead there early in the game. I don't think they're going to let Trey Lyles get those open shots again, though. I think that'll be an adjustment the Warriors make. I mean, they seem to leave him alone, and he made him pay. Don't think they make that mistake again. Fox was clutch. He did it during the regular season. The question was he going to be able to do it in the playoffs? And he is. I don't know. It's not saying it's a good matchup for the team, but I think it's a good matchup for Fox. The Warriors don't really have anyone, right, they can stay in front of them, because I would say right now Wiggins and Dre are their best defenders, but they're both two, right? They're bigger defenders. That they're made to defend forwards, not a guy that's ultra quick. I mean, this is Russell Westbrook level speed that De'Aaron Fox possesses, and now that mid range is lethal, you can show why he's clutch. And then what he came through with that was not an aspect of his game in the NBA was the 3-point shot, and he hit those big 3-point shots down the stretch to go ahead and match Steph there. And hey, we knew we had to score because we weren't going to get the stops, right? So, fantastic. I do think the Warriors, they have a lot to improve on. Wiggins will see more minutes. My guess is that he will start game 2. DiVincenzo will be out of the starting lineup. So like I said, I'm still a little worried. I know we have a better record than them, but they have so much room for improvement, and Wiggins getting more minutes can only help this team. Wouldn't be surprised to see Jordan Poole's role continue to get reduced as it was in the playoffs last year, because it just gives opposing teams too much to target there. So yeah, we'll talk about this game a little later tonight, but what did you see on Saturday nights?
Very entertaining game. And me as a guy who follows a lot of college basketball, especially the Kentucky program, I know that John Calipari was somewhere talking major noise because he likes to talk about his program and the guys he's coaching. He's really proud of them. I know he was having a drink talking big noise to somebody as he watched that game because his 3 guys that he recruited to Kentucky were the main contributors for the Kings. With Fox, with his running mate Monk, a lot of people know Monk was more highly recruited than Fox in college. Monk was one of the top players in the country. We've seen an explosive wing, and he's coming into himself now that he's back with his homeboy. And I think that Fox is really good for his life. Like I told you, Fox is a really good dude who just is all about basketball and working. And Monk likes to do a little partying and a lot of playing. He likes to, run around. I think that he's settled down being in that area in Sacramento, and being around Fox has really been really
Not
good for
much to
him.
do. There's only about 3 like NBA level nightclubs here, so you get tired
Yeah,
of it
there's
pretty
not
quick.
much. Yeah, they do that, and then it's so small, everybody knows what you're doing out there, so you
Yeah.
can't, hide like he could hide in L.A. Because I got a couple stories on him, but he's a good kid. He just likes to have a good time. But Trey Lyles also is another Kentucky guy, and he stepped up big for you guys. You guys have three of the top high school players in the last decade on the team with those guys, because those guys were all McDonald's All Americans, man. And um, kudos to Mike Brown for being smart enough to, play him. He cut back the minutes on Keegan Murray. He's a rookie, and put some more battle tested guys out there. And they really performed well. Like you said, Herter didn't play well, but he didn't even have to, because Monk picked up the slack so much. He was just like the Monk that we expect him to be in the NBA, scoring 32 points. Him and Fox combined for 70. So I know that after the game, they had a really good time talking about that, and talking about how good it is to be in this situation together, playing in meaningful games, in the NBA. And the running mates are back together, and they're really fun for me to watch. And I could tell everybody thinks Golden State's going to win this series, and I don't. I think that the Kings have a really good chance to upset the Warriors. You are what your record says you are, and people don't want to accept that. They think that these guys could just turn on a switch. Don't get me wrong, the Clippers and the Lakers, they did really well yesterday and were able to lift their games. We'll see if Golden State will be able to tonight. I was disappointed in the fourth quarter with the Warriors. It seemed like the Warriors had control of that game in the second half and were about to win it. Going to the fourth quarter, Fox just did what he's been doing all year. He's the top fourth quarter player in the league. When me and you discussed last summer, when it was like it was either between him or Halliburton, and I told you Fox he's that guy. Halliburton's a great player. He can, a good team player, good point guard, but Fox is different. He's one of those guys that has MVP level, first team, all NBA type level skill. And he showed it and put it on display. He has ice water in his veins. He's not afraid of the moment. And he took over in the fourth quarter, whereas in the Warriors didn't have anyone that they could just go to and get a basket in the fourth quarter. And the Kings, took control of the game, and then it still came down after Steph got back in. Was able to cut the game to one, where they had an opportunity to win the game after a missed free throw by Monk. And when they came down, it really surprised me that Steph got off the ball really quick, and he got it to Clay, and Clay got off the ball really quick, and they give it to Wiggins and put Wiggins in a bad situation where he has to shoot it. He's open from the baseline in his normal spot, but this guy's first game back in what, like 40 games, So I just don't think that the Splash Brothers did a good job of on that last play. I think that they could have, if not won it, I think it was a little time left where the Kings might would have got the ball back, but at least they could have took the lead. I think you keep the ball in one of the other's hands, preferably Steph. And then after you pass to Clay, get the ball up, put it on the glass, shoot it, or make a move and try to shoot it or get it back to Steph. Don't put this guy Wiggins in this position where he's wide open from the baseline and he's shooting, but he hasn't had any game reps.
All right. You talked about Calipari being happy and having drinks. They were doing that at ESPN when the Los Angeles Lakers got the win. Oh my God. I mean, they're not even transparent about who they want to win,
uh,
right? But
they
they
must got a
deserve the win.
25-1 like me.
No, they just don't want to hang out in Memphis. And I mean, let's be honest, where would you rather travel to, Memphis or Los Angeles? Now, the Lakers deserve the win, though, right? I didn't think there was any funny business. It was really just the better team winning. But Memphis is in trouble if they don't have John Morant. They might already be in trouble without Adams and Clark. They don't have the size that they did, and it's a lot of reliance on Jaren Jackson. I noticed that they went away from putting Jaren Jackson on Anthony Davis, and the idea was like he's just going to get too much foul trouble. I thought that was smart to have him be a roamer and a helper. Jackson still makes some silly defensive plays, so as far as getting fouls, so that's going to be an issue for this team. I don't think they can compete if he's on the bench with foul trouble. They need Jaren Jackson out there. And then I don't know what the status of John Morant is. I'm going off Basketball Monster, and all they're giving me is a questionable. So that could completely change everything if he's not in there. Memphis, I think they can absorb his injury during the regular season. But this is a completely different time. I don't know if Tyus Jones will be able to lead them against the Los Angeles Lakers team that's finally clicking. So, ESPN was loving. I mean, Anthony Davis out there going full WWE, selling the injury. Oh, no, I'm done. I mean, give me a break. The most unlikable team in the NBA continues to win. But the ESPN has their villain, and they played the role to the T. I know you're pretty happy. Looks like the Lakers will get this upset here. This is another one where the lines moved a lot. Memphis is plus 210 now to win the series.
Yeah, it was some trickery. You said it wasn't any trickery. The trickery was Anthony Davis with the I can't feel my arm. That reel did a lot more points. I was laughing. I was watching the market at the second half because the whole time before the game started, I was like, I'm on the Grizz all weekend. I was like, this is too easy. -3.5 gonna kill them. When the game right before the game starts, it shoots up to 5.5. I'm
Win the
like, oh no,
five, yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I'm switching this. I'm taking the Lakers. I'm like, this is way too much public money coming in. It pounded up to like 93%, man, to 7%. I'm
And
like,
I'm
oh no way.
surprised too. I thought that with the number of Lakers fans out there, it felt like the timeline was pretty split. So I was really
Talking
surprised the
heads,
Grizzlies
talking
were.
heads, talking
Yeah, I
heads
guess
like
so.
us. That's why,
Yeah.
because we guys like us and guys that on major networks all were on the Grizzlies, and so now you got all these bettors running through the window thinking, well, yeah, the Grizzlies. It makes sense. They've been good all season. The Lakers usually, well, LeBron usually starts slow in series,
Good
but
point. Yeah.
they were. Yeah, they were really motivated, and the number got outrageous, and that's when I knew there was a money grab. And what sealed it for me, I got the Lakers live +8, and I got them second half -2 for a lot because it was -1 and shot up to 2 because everybody was watching Anthony Davis with my arm and they were selling it at the halftime. Well, Anthony Davis be hurt again, and I'm like the whole time like this dude will be right back out, and he came back running out the like a WWE wrestler, like he just I got another life, and,
That
and it was
that
just.
ESPN halftime show is horrible. That one, it's like, how can you talk basketball without actually saying anything?
Stephen A. Smith was like really into his role as a soap opera guy. He was like
It
Anthony
felt like watching
Davis,
WWE.
Anthony,
Right? Like you remind
Anthony,
me of Jesse the Body
Anthony
Ventura.
Davis,
Yeah, they out
Anthony
there going
Davis.
full
You better
heel.
come out of that. You better
Yeah,
come out of that locker room right now and play. Because if you don't,
unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Stephen A. We can't be
uh,
experts on every sport. I mean, the Masters is
uh,
a golf expert. The
oh
Heat.
man.
Anything more on that one, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, just real briefly, man. Kudos to the front office with the Lakers. The Lakers always have done this over the years. They know how to go pay for things and get people, uh, to work with them and deal with them. And they caught Danny Ainge mad at the Celtics. He did them a real big favor as a last fu to the Celtics organization and gave them just a perfect team over there now because you couldn't
Yeah.
have put together a more perfect balanced team than they have over there for LeBron, man. It's absolutely wonderful. You got and kudos also to Darvin Ham because he's the first guy who's gotten across to Anthony Davis. He's gotten to Anthony Davis, and you could tell Anthony Davis is the guy again, and Darvin Ham has a lot to do with that. You could tell they have a really close relationship, and he plays hard for him. He gives effort for him. You got Vanderbilt out of Houston,
I
great
don't
glue
want to
guy.
dismiss Frank Vogel's efforts, though. It's not his fault that they blew that team up that he had.
Well, Frank
I
Vogel
thought
did a
Vogel
good
got a
job,
bad
but I
rep.
don't think he definitely got a bad rep. Frank Vogel is a good coach, but he had lost the locker room by the time after the first
I'm not
championship.
arguing with that either, but I'm just saying Vogel did a
Yeah,
pretty good job with AD too, and probably would have
yeah.
continued
AD
if
went
they
a little
didn't trade him for a
Hollywood.
role player.
AD went a little Hollywood because success shows the real in all of us. So he
And
got
he got to work
successful. He
with like
started dressing
Naz.
nice. He started
Yeah,
dressing nice. He started hanging in L.A. We know he likes to do a little smoking like everybody in the league does. So he was feeling himself, man. And now he's back to being the guy we know. Is AD's one of the most talented dudes we've ever seen lace up shoes, bro. He could do so much on the basketball court. He's so effective at 6'11", block shots, one of the great defensive players we've seen in the league, and then also has an offensive game with it that's astounding. He's just a great weapon, man. And a lot of times we forget about when he's really on top of his game. He's really a top 5 player in the league, and you got him with LeBron James, arguably the greatest of all time, but definitely one of the greats in NBA history. And he still has enough left in his tank to give you something every now and then. But more than that, just him being on the floor, what he brings as far as in knowledge and intelligence and giving his team confidence is unbelievable. You got Hillbilly Kobe. Austin Reeves has been my guy since Wichita State. He's always been a hooper, man. He's grown to being 6'7" now, and that's the thing. He was like 6'3", 6'4" at Wichita State, and he sprouted up to 6'7", man. And you saw him talking about, I'm him. I'm him. I said Austin Reeves has been hanging with the brothers. So you got Austin Reeves, and then D'Angelo Russell is just an excellent player, man. One of those another guy who just does so many things so well, and he's underappreciated. And we always knew about Hachimura. Man, you talked about him for many years about how good he was at Washington, and he just lands in their hand like Hachimura could be an all-star one day. He's that type of player if he got the minutes. And he comes from being one of the best players to ever come through Gonzaga, and now he's landed right there in the Lakers' hands. So the Lakers have a great nucleus, man. Those dudes are loaded right now, and it's all the perfect guys to play with LeBron, man. So I would not be surprised if my 25-1 is looking pretty good right now.
all right, you're absolutely right, but I don't want to hear it anymore. We might have won game five, but I'm still a Lakers hater in my heart. The Heat are plus 9.5 in Milwaukee. Giannis got hurt. That completely changed the complexion of this game, and I really like Milwaukee to win the NBA Finals this year. But uh, this might be a year where the health just isn't in their cards, right? Chris Middleton doesn't look 100%, and I think they could absorb all that because I think Giannis is that good. But if he's out there and he's not 100%, this is a tough matchup for him. Your thoughts here? I mean, I don't even know what to do with this series because I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow night. The line says that he is. It's the same line.
He's gonna play. They're gonna probably shoot him up, give him massages and things like that. Because what he looked like, as long as he didn't break a bone in his back, he's gonna play. Because anything else is just discomfort. But now, how effective can he be? Is it such a bad bruise that now he doesn't have his lift? He can't run. He can't jump because he didn't look good walking off the court, man, at all. Um, that changes everything. As you said, he's one of those guys. Most time it's next man up, but with him, like
He ain't replacing
Marcus
him.
Shack was saying,
Yeah.
he ain't replacing him. You're not calling the next man up with that guy. So the Heat might have got a break, but they also caught a bad break themselves, losing Tyler Hero. He's definitely gone. He broke some fingers in his shooting
Yeah,
hand, so
he's
he won't
done.
be back. And a hustle play too, man. That's what's so sad. He was making a good, defensive hustle play that supposed to preaches and man, they lost $1 million baby with that one because Hero's the one guy on their team that can just go get a bucket. Don't get me wrong, Butler can go post up and do his little pump fake thing, but it's such a ball stopper. Hero can just get buckets within the offense.
Great point.
And they're gonna really miss him. They're gonna miss him. So we'll see if Strus can step up. He's been playing really well. He was a DePaul guy. He was a heck of a hooper in college as well. And then my guy Duncan Robinson, ex-Michigan guy, he had a lot of success in college as well, going to a couple Final Fours. See if he can step in and shoot a high percentage from the 3-point line and make people respect him. But the Heat, I'm not gonna respect him. I know Bam had 22 points yesterday, but it just seems like Bam doesn't affect the game, man. I don't know why. He just doesn't feel like a center that affects the game to me. Like I saw him affect the game in the bubble, where he was catching the ball up top and being like a point center. I don't see that anymore in his game. So we'll see if he gets better during the series. But as long as Giannis comes back, man, and can play at even 60, 70%, I think the Bucks win the
All right.
series.
Uh, Los Angeles Clippers get the win at Phoenix. Hey, we all saw what happened. Do you think the Suns bounce back, or do you think the Clippers can win the series?
I think this is a long series, and I think that the Clippers are watching the Lakers. And as long as the Lakers are playing good, it motivates the Clippers. It's strange like that. You got Ty Lue with the LeBron angle. You got Kyrie Leonard with the LeBron angle. And those guys keep an eye on what LA's doing. You got Russell Westbrook with the LeBron Lakers angle. So I knew the Clippers were going to play well after the Lakers played well, and they did. They looked really good. Kyrie Leonard, if he's healthy, he's always the best player um, when he matches up with a team on the West. So he's the best player in the West. So the Clippers definitely have a chance, and Paul George will be back next series. So this will be interesting. Do KD and CP3 go out the first round? They got a bad matchup when they got the Clippers.
Yeah, a lot of things for Phoenix to improve, though. I felt like there was too much Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton pick and roll. Get the ball to your scorers. So they have easy adjustments to make, and I do believe they will. Great win for the Clippers, but I don't want to close the door on the Suns yet. I will close the door on the Timberwolves, though. Hey, great job. You made the 8th seed. Wonderful. Enjoy getting smoked. Gentlemen sweep coming up.
Uh,
I don't have much to say on that game. I laid it with the Nuggets. It was an easy win.
Yeah, I didn't play that game. You know what? I played the second half and got smoked on it. Um, but it was just a small play. Not much to say about this game at all. Like you said, you got a normal one against the AC. Denver looked good last night, but we've seen this before. It isn't like Minnesota doesn't have the bodies to play, and they are competitive. So I don't think it's going to be as people think. I think Minnesota fights back a little bit and competes with them. They played really well against them during the regular season. This is just one
Yeah.
game, and Minnesota's coming off of the play-in tournament, so I think
We're
it'll be more
opposite there.
competitive.
I got the Nuggets winning 4-1. I think they
I
Minnesota gets
think
a
four
little.
two. I think 4-2.
All right, 4-2.
Yeah, I think 4-2.
Let's
Yeah.
move to the present. We have 2 games tonight. The first one will be. I'm not excited about this at all. Nets and Sixers. I don't see how anything changes. I talked about other adjustments that I think teams will make. I think the Warriors make adjustments. We talked about the Suns being able to make some adjustments. Even the Cavaliers know what they need to do. I don't know what the Nets do to make things different.
Nothing. Just get smacked. That's it. Just get smacked because they're in a bad situation. The thing that makes it really bad on them is they're one of the worst teams to defend the 3-point shot, and the Sixers are the best 3-point shooting team in the league. And then they're one of the worst teams, if not the worst, rebounding. And the Sixers are one of the
They're too
top two
small.
teams
Yeah.
in the league at rebounding. So I don't see an answer for them at all. As you said, most of their wins came when they had Kyrie and KD. So that's why this team kind of got in the playoffs. They kind of coasted. Great job by Jock Vaughn with all of the stuff that's been going on over there. But end of the day, they can go on and make their plans for Cancun.
All right. You said you like the Kings to win the series. I would posit that the Kings can't win in the Chase Center, so they need to win tonight if they're going to do that. Do you think the Kings get the win? They're plus
They,
1.5.
yep. And it's soared up now to 2. It's now it's -2.
Everyone's going to be on the
Man,
Warriors.
everyone's gonna be on the Warriors. I think I might have to be contrarian tonight, man, and dive with the books, man. I might have to dive with the books tonight, man. It's just too much money on the Warriors tonight. It's like 87% on the money on the Warriors, man. And I think the SAC is a really good home team, man. And I think that they have players who aren't afraid. It's now if the shots are dropping. If Malik Monk um, can stay being, you know, the guy that he's supposed to be, if he could have a playoff run where he's looking like he looked in game one, that's the key. We know what we're going to get from Fox. It's about, the others. Who is going to be the guy that steps up? Will hurt to step up this game and, give them 25. They're going to need somebody to step up and give them some points to help Fox. We all know this is going to be a shootout. Every game is going to be who can score the most. So I expect a very focused Warriors team tonight. They used to play really well off losses. I'd love to see what Steve Kerr's record is off a loss in the playoffs. I can't remember them losing many games back to back. So it's
It
going to
was
be
also
very
like 27
interesting.
to 3 game ones too. Now, to be fair, most of their game ones were at home, but
Well, all of them
were.
you are what your record says you are. They're 60, no matter how much people want to remember the past.
All right, let's move to the ball and parlay. What do you got for us?
Hey man, we're gonna go with some props tonight. The first one's gonna be Tyrese Max, as we spoke about. The Nets really struggle rebounding the ball, man. Tyrese Maxey is went over on his rebounds the last four occasions, and I think he does again tonight. It's a very low number. It's only at 3.5. He should get 4 boards because he plays so hard. He hustles, and he's going to get a lot of minutes because I think that once again the Sixers separate, so they play a lot of their young guys, and he'll get some run and get a chance to get those over 3.5 rebounds. The Nets just aren't good at rebounding, man. They're the worst in the league at defensive rebounding. And then I got Harden going over 2.5 3 pointers. Once again, it's weakness against strength. The Nets are 21st at 3 point, defending the 3 point line. They're allowing their opponents to shoot 37%. We know James Harden just went off for 7. He should get at least 3. And the reason why is because uh, I'd say 75% of his game now is the 3 point ball since he's been with Philly. As we were tweeting about earlier, he doesn't have the lift that he used to have when he was with Houston and OKC, where he could get in the paint and finish strong over a big. He doesn't have a lot of success with that, and with them not giving him the calls in the playoffs, he knows that he's not going to be able to score from there. So his thing now is the step back three and then the three off the kick out from a dub on Embiid. And I think that he's able to stick at least 3 3 pointers tonight. So we're going to go with Maxey over 3.5 rebounds and Harden over 2.5 3 pointers in the Philly and Sixers game.
I like both those plays. I especially like the Harden over, and like all great shaders do when their athleticism drops. Right, certain players aren't able to be effective anymore. James Harden is not them. When you have that pure shooting stroke, there's going to be a place for you on the floor a lot older into your career. I'm going with the 76ers Nets over 213. The last game ended at 221, 222.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. I know that there's more defense in the playoffs. When you're up 17, it's really hard to lock in and really, right? I mean, what's the point of being physical, right? We're up 17.
Right.
The last thing I need to do is start a scuffle, worry about, spraining my ankle, right? It gets, when you have these blowout games, which is what my script says tonight, I expect the Sixers to win again easily. It doesn't have that same playoff intensity, and why not, right? I mean, the Sixers have had problems gaining injuries during these playoffs before. So I think what happens is the Sixers get out early. They have too many offensive weapons, and then they're going to put up that huge score in the first half, and that's going to lead to the more, I don't want to say casual style of basketball, but it's not going to have the same playoff feel that our second game is going to have, as I believe the Sixers completely run away from this. And hey, you know what? I'm all for it. Let's just drive down this Brooklyn Nets stock because I'm going to be on them next year. I just think this is the worst matchup for them of any team. They even match up better with Milwaukee, right? It's just a bad matchup. So drive that Brooklyn Nets stock down right now. Go ahead. Let's sweep them. Let's get them out here. Have everyone say they suck and we can hit their regular season win total in October, right? Because I do think they have a good squad. It's a terrible matchup.
Yeah.
I expect the Sixers to get another blowout. I don't think the Nets can stop them. They have good defensive players. They're not going to be able to set a scheme to stop this Philly team. I'm on the over.
Yeah, I like the Nets over total over wins next year too, because it's nothing but cardio and effort in the regular season. It doesn't have anything to do with the playoffs. And Jock Vaughn is really good at getting guys to play, and the nucleus that he has over there are a bunch of hard-working young guys. So
and they're going to match up well with most teams, right? Like a Miami and Indiana, right? They don't have that dominant center. They don't want to play Jokic. They don't want to play Embiid. They don't really want to play Giannis. But against the smaller teams, which is the way the league's going, like even against Sacramento, right? They match up a lot better, right? Claxton's much better chance against Sabonis, who likes to bring his opponent out on the perimeter, than Embiid, who just gets whatever he wants. And even if he's not down low, he just shoots over him. and his jump shot's unaffected. So bad
Yeah.
matchup for the Nets. Too bad for us watching that early game. But hey, get your popcorn ready because I think we're gonna have another exciting game here in Sacramento tonight.
Yeah, the ball and parlay, we're smart enough to stay away from the real game tonight, which is going to be your Kings against the Warriors. It's going to be a lot of politics, and that one is going to be a fun watch. So I'm going to just sit back and watch it. But once again, we're going to give out from the Sixers and the Nets game. We're going with the over rebounds from Tyrese Maxey at over 3.5. We're going with the over 2.5 3-pointers made for James Harden. And we're going with the 76ers and Nets to go over 213, which is a really good play because they have the last 4 out of 5 times the Nets really had problems slowing down Philly. Anything for the people before we get out of this spread?
Let's light the beam.
All right, man. Let's light the beam. The books is 7% against the 93% public tonight. So the Kings are sharp tonight. Let's see if they can bring it on home. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Best of luck to y'all tonight.